Ever feel like your consequences keep going up and all you feel like is, my kid still doesn't care? It's a really common problem, and we'll start first with an easy fix. Most of the time when consequences keep getting bigger, it means we keep getting more emotionally involved. So one of the biggest things to do is when you're giving a consequence is make sure everybody's back to emotional zero. So when a negative behavior occurs, signal them this doesn't work, and then let everyone take a time out or a brain break. When you're going to come back and give consequences, you need to be in a place where you feel neutral. Sometimes you need to call a friend, do something else, go yell in the room, whatever it takes. But once you're neutral, that's when you set consequences. Okay, so one of the easiest systems is actually to have the consequences ahead of time. Make a minor and a major list of things that people can't do in your house. So some minor things could be being disrespectful at the table, some things like watching TV when you've been told not to. Major things are more like curfew problems or high levels of disrespect, or certainly something like hitting a sibling. Know ahead of time what the penalty is. So minor things can be losing 15 minutes of electronics. Major consequences include things like being grounded or potentially having breaks from friends or other activities that they like. Once you know the consequences and everyone is calm, then you sit down and deliver what they are. A lot of people want a big emotional response when they deliver a consequence. Kids tend to move on quickly, and as adults, we feel all that hurt, all that frustration. So until you're neutral, it's likely you're going to keep building and building and building. Effective consequences actually last short periods of time, but aren't fun. So if your kid is continuing to dawdle around and isn't getting something done, what I like to do is say, actually, you owe me this time. So you owe me the 15 minutes that you were doing something when we had another place to be. But I get to pick when it is. So for instance, if you have a favorite TV show, then I get the first 15 minutes of the TV show. The key is that it's not that your show starts 15 minutes later, it's that you miss the first 15. What about removing privileges? This is a big one for teenagers. This is a place where escalations really do get out of control. If you are in conflict in the moment, you tend to say, okay, that's another 15 or that's another 3 days. So first off, we're back to neutral. If they're continuing to escalate, then you can add on time, but it's more effective to add small pieces of time, hours rather than days. Because if you get to the point where someone has a multi-week consequence, the only game in town at this point is to beat you at caring less or being upset for all of those pieces. The key for a consequence, short amounts of time that are unpleasant and are decided on long before there's a whole bunch of conflict. If you feel like you've tried all of these things, you're neutral when it happens, you're using agreed upon consequences, and you feel like things keep escalating out of control, it's a good time to get more help. Talk to your pediatrician or child psychiatrist and see what's happening emotionally. Sometimes kids don't feel like they're being heard in the moment or feel like there are pieces you don't understand. What we really want to make sure is that behaviors are clearly yes or no, but the emotional subtleties and the need for connection and love are happening consistently.